Hey everyone, it's David Weir here from What's the Car Like. Now today I don't have a cameraman, so you're going to have to deal with me being the cameraman, or at the moment a tree, which is my current cameraman. What we're going to do today is we're going to review the recently facelifted Audi Q3. Behind me is the base model TFSI 35 version. Now if you're wondering about that naming convention, I recently reviewed the Audi Q2, which you can find above me. And at the start of that review, I go into that naming convention in a bit more detail. So if you really want to know more about that, just have a look at that review and then you'll learn a bit more about it. Now, if you do like my videos, please subscribe by pressing the subscribe button below. It does help grow my channel, give you guys more content more often. Alright, let's have a look at this Audi Q3. So looking at the Audi Q3 from the side here, I do like it. It's got some nice lines around there. You can see the lines just running along the side here just to give it a bit of shape and character, and then you can see there's a bit of a two-tone here. So this is a base model, so you've got a bit of a grey touch. You do see something similar on the Audi Q2s. Now if we're having a look at the wheels here, I'm not a big fan of the wheels actually. They're 18-inch wheels on this car, 235 wide and 55 profile, but I don't know, I just don't like the wheels. They look a bit basic, that design, but obviously you go up a model, you can get some different wheels, and then Audi give you a whole range of choice of wheels if you don't like those wheels as well. Alright, having a look at the front here, I like that new Audi front look. It's sort of shaped up more like some of the bigger Audi SUVs that came out, like the Audi Q8, giving that sort of similar shape, that similar looking grille there, that nice big Audi grille. And then you've got the facelifted lights here with the LED day running lights down the bottom here. But yeah, I do like that new grille. It gives it more of a mature look, I think, the Audi Q3, and I do like it a lot better than the previous version. Just having another look around the side here, you can see this has got roof rails there. They're sort of a chrome coloured roof rails at the top there. So the back, I like the way that they've shaped the roof line. I think it's made it a bit more sporty looking, though it's still keeping with that elegant sort of touch. They've got the new headlights at the back here. Then you've got this bumper bar with the two fake looking exhausts on the back, which for this car are okay, but when you go to the sporty versions, and I don't think I need to go into the newish SQ5 that they released in 2017 with those two fake exhausts, which look terrible. But on the back of here, no, I can deal with it. The actual real exhausts, you might be able to see them. They're just under there, so it's just a single exhaust that comes out into like a dual muffler there. And then we'll take you for another look around the side here. All right, let's hop inside the car and take a look at the inside of the car. So looking inside the Audi here, the interior looks really nice. It's been completely upgraded, and I really like what they've done in the cabin here, and this sort of again fits in with the newer models here. They've got the nice big 10-inch display here. It's just touchscreen, so you don't have any more scroll wheel or anything down here to control it with, and the clarity and resolution on that screen is really good as well. You can see a virtual cockpit over there, which I'll show you a bit closely in a sec when I hop in the driver's seat. The leather here is pretty good quality. It feels quite nice to touch. It's not the best quality leather I've seen, but it's nice enough. Some of the finishes, I'm still not, it's a bit of a soft plastic there, but I think up here it can look a tiny bit cheap. I do like that nice sort of, and it does feel quite nice actually, nice sort of chrome look there, and you've got more of a perforated black sort of plastic here, which looks good as well and blends in well with the rest of the cabin. One thing I did notice is these handles here, they kind of look like they've been put on upside down or something like that. It's a kind of a weird looking design there. It's a bit cheap plastic here, it doesn't feel too soft, but besides that, it kind of looks quite nice in the cabin here. Not many dials around about, so it looks nice and clean finish here. Looking here, unlike the Audi Q2, this Q3, even in the base model, it has the virtual cockpit here. You can go through a few different views here. I see it's got the driver assist view here, or you can have a look at sort of looking at the oil temperature and then the revs. But then I'll just show you quickly some of the views. You've got your long-term memory view, then you've got like a consumption view, and then you've got the date time view, and you can also see a view of the navigation up there if you want as well. and you can actually get a bigger view if you just flick through the different buttons there, view buttons there on the steering wheel. So the steering wheel here is a similar steering wheel that you find on the Audi Q3. So on the left there are some of the options I was using to flick through that virtual cockpit, and then on the below there you can see the stalk for their cruise control, and then you've got your blinker stalk and also turning on and off your lane assist. Over the right here you've got your asterisk button, which you can customize to decide what that does, your volume button, and your voice control, which I've tested the voice control and it's actually quite good and picks up what you're asking for it to do quite quickly. And then just your blinker stalk there. You've got your window buttons there and your mirror buttons down there, and then this one's swayed away from having the switch that you turn to turn on the lights. Now it's just a button that you press for the lights and the fog light. That's something different that Audi's gone for. And this one's just got manual seats, so no automatic seats in this model. The rear legroom in this is actually not too bad. I've still got a bit of room at the back there. They've designed the seats kind of well, so there's a bit of an knee area here in the seats, which I'll show you in a second there. The seats are on rails, so you can move them back. This is as far back as they can go, but you can move them forward if you need be to give you more cargo space in the boot there. You could probably fit 2 adults comfortably in here. I'd say the person in the middle would be a bit squashed here. In the back here, feels nice, premium as well. Still some of those plastics like here I'm not really a massive fan of. Besides that, there's good handles to hold on to. You've got some cup holders down the bottom there. You can store some cups in there. You've got an armrest here, which is comfortable, and then you've got some cup holders there to store some cups in there as well. So that's all good. These windows, do they go down all the way? Yes, they do. They go down all the way, so that's good. That's not always the case, so you don't feel too claustrophobic in here, and it gives you the full window room, so that's good. Good job, Audi. So just taking a look at a bit closer at those seats there, you can see the indents there for my knees to give me a tiny bit more room. It's a front wheel drive car, but the drivetrain comes up a bit in this actually to sort of take away a bit of that legroom in the middle there. For the kids in the back here, you've got 2 mini USB sockets, which does come in handy, and a cigarette lighter. You've also got 2 air conditioning vents there to cool the people in the back, which is also good. Headroom is also good in this. There's a lot of headspace in there, so even if you're over 6 foot, you still shouldn't have a problem in the back here. So for a small car, I think there's a good amount of room in the back here, so they've done a good job with that. Let's go take a look in the boot and see how much boot space there is. Just noticed as well in the rear here, it's got some extra storage pockets there next to each of the seats, which is kind of cool just to store something there. I actually didn't notice that when I was sitting down in the seats before. So with all the seats all the way back as I've got them now, you get 530 litres. For a small car, it's not too bad, considering you go to Porsche Macan, which is a bit bigger than this, and you only get about 580 litres in the Porsche Macan. So 530 is not too bad actually. These seats at the rear there, they'll fold back any way that you need, 60-40, 40-20, however you want it. A few little storage spaces down there, another one there. I can't notice any 12 volt sockets or anything in here. Let's have a look underneath here. So we've got what looks like a reasonable sized tyre, but it is a space saver tyre. So it is actually 18 inches, but it is a space saver tyre. And then just your tyre kit there, so at least you do get that spare wheel there, but still can't find any 12 volt sockets there. You got your cargo cover, which is part of the back there. And then this is a electric close, so pressing that button and the boot will just close for you. Alright, so let's go take this car for a drive and find out what it's like on the actual road. So in the car, just been for a drive in it, and firstly before I get into how it was to drive, just want to talk about this key here. This looks like it's straight out of an Audi A3 from 2008, and it's also got an actual key, but I don't know why, because this is start stop, there's nowhere to put a key in. Near the door handle there's no key to enter the car, so I'm not sure why they even bothered with this. So Audi, I think you need to update this. The car, so getting in it, there's no real blind spots in the car. They've done pretty well to hide any blind spots. They've got windows in nice places there. I think all the buttons are pretty much easy to find, other than the one button I mentioned before for the volume, which is a bit hard to reach. One of the other things I noticed when driving was the way the window lines here, if you can see where my elbow is here, it's uncomfortable. Like if you're someone like me that likes to rest your elbow here, you can't actually do that because it's a bit uncomfortable there. I tried to muck around with the seat, put it higher or lower, and whatever way you do, it's just not comfortable. So I don't know, there wasn't much thought for Audi when they did that, or they just, obviously not many people like to put their elbow up there like me when you're driving and holding your wheel with the other hand. In terms of how the car rides, look, to be honest, I thought it'd ride a bit smoother. If you compare it to some of the other SUVs in this class, they are a bit smoother than this. It's not unsmooth, but it's just not as smooth as you'd expect it to be. I think the ride quality, I'd put it on par with the Audi Q2, which I've driven. In terms of the handling of this car, I think it could be better as well. There's a bit of roll when you go around bends. It does, after it does the initial roll, it does stop, which gives you confidence into the bends, but it's still a bit more roll than I would expect from it. The other thing was the steering in this car. It's really, really light. So I think Audi need to put a bit of weight in it and give the driver a bit more feedback to the steering, because as a driver, you just don't get any feedback from that steering wheel. So it doesn't really feel like that you're in one with the car when throwing it around a turn. In terms of the engine in this, so this has got the 1.4 litre turboed engine, the same engine that you find in the TFSI 35 Q2, and it's got 110 kilowatts and 250 newton meters of torque. And I think in the Q3 it feels a bit underpowered. The Q3 is a bit heavier than the Q2, but at times when putting the accelerator down, it just sort of lacked, or you had to just put the accelerator down more even to get it going. So I think if that is important for you, then definitely you'd want to go for the TFSI 40 with the 2 litre turbo engine, and it has more power. And this one is actually noticeably slower to 100 than the Q2. So the Q2 is about 8 seconds, 8.4 seconds to 100. This is over 9 seconds. It's about 9.3 seconds to 100, the Audi quotes. Fuel consumption on this car. So Audi says this is a combined 7.4 litres to 100 kilometres, which isn't too bad. Maybe you'd expect to get a bit better out of a 1.4 litre turbo engine. I can tell you, I've been driving around mainly the city in this, and I've been getting around 8.8 litres per 100 kilometres. I've been pretty light on the accelerator, so maybe if you go on the highway, you might get that 7.4 litres that Audi's talking about. When I hopped in this car, it was showing actually over the 9. So I think general real world, you're going to get from anywhere between the 9s to maybe the 7s, mid 7s if you're going on a highway trip. The sound system on this car, that disappointed me a bit as well. Normally with these European cars, you get a really nice crisp sound system. This sound system just didn't seem like it had too much performance to it. So if that is important, I'd definitely recommend upgrading to the Bose system. Don't get me wrong, it's not a poor sound system. It's still probably better than most of its Asian counterparts, but it's just not as punchy as I thought it could be. The brakes on this car, the brakes are really good and solid on this car. I was really impressed with the stopping power of the car. In terms of technology on the car, you actually get a bit more technology without having to pay a bit extra than you do on the Audi Q2. But if you want to go for anything like adaptive cruise control, anything a bit more advanced, you actually do have to get your wallet out and pay a few extra thousand for that. So standard on this base model, what you do get is just your basic cruise control, no adaptive cruise control. You get your lane keep assist there, and you also get your blind spot alerts. You also do have front and rear parking sensors and a rear view camera. If you upgrade to the comfort pack, you'll get like a 360 degree rear view camera, and you also get that adaptive cruise control I spoke about. So a reasonable safety kit, but not as much as you get chucked in for free with some of its Asian counterparts. So the gearbox in this is a 6-speed gearbox. It's a dual clutch gearbox, and I find it really kind of smooth. I said the only problems I've had, and it's probably more engine related, is initial acceleration. Sometimes you've got to just push the accelerator down a bit further to actually get the car moving. So in general, what do I think about this Audi Q3? Well, first of all, let's start with the things I didn't like too much. Well, the steering, I wasn't too impressed with the steering. It just feels really light and then unresponsive. And you don't really feel like you're getting much feedback in the car when you're throwing around turns. I thought that it could ride a bit smoother. It's not terrible by any means of the imagination, but I just thought it could be a bit more smoother. It doesn't seem to be that much of a bigger jump up from its predecessor, the previous Q3. And as I said, that engine, I didn't mind it in the Q2, but with a bit more weight in this car, I thought it could be a bit better. So some of the things I do like in this, I love the new styling in the interior. It's really upgraded from the previous Q3. It looks way more modern now. It's sort of brought it in line with some of the higher models in the Audi range, such as a Q8. So I really like what they've done there. I like the outside of the car. I really like the exterior. I think it's a lot nicer, a lot more sportier than the previous Q3, which I thought looked a bit plain from certain angles. And I don't mind the gearbox. It's quite a smooth gearbox. So in general, would I go buy this car? Probably not. I'd definitely say go and have a look and see what else is out there. There's a lot of cars in the market in this size to choose from. And if you're looking for European cars, you think the BMW X1, you've got the Mercedes GLA, which just came out facelifted. You've got Volvo's XC40. So there's a whole range of cars to choose from. So go out, test drive those cars, see what you think. Then if you still like the Audi, go for it. But as I said, I don't mind it, but I just thought I just expected more from the driving experience of it, with it being sort of a completely new model for Audi, which I didn't really feel that I got. But yeah, that's just obviously my opinion. If you did like my video, please subscribe by pressing the subscribe button below.